What's up, you beautiful people of the internet, and welcome to the Morning Game Watch Drop, episode 4. That is, yes, it's 4. It's hi, Robert. This is Dom. And y'all are here on, as I said again, Morning Game Watch Drop. This is the place, guys, where y'all can get y'all's news in regards to films, gaming. This time around, I think we're going to kind of give more sort of our opinions, less than news. But, yeah. How you been, man?
Great. Just hanging in there. Just busy with work. Got a new Fitbit for my birthday.
There you go.
My lovely girlfriend got it for me. And just been working those miles, man.
Yeah.
Working those miles.
Yeah. So what you been watching lately?
Man, I've been keeping up with the Iron Fist. I mean, it's been out for a while, so people have already finished it. I'm kind of a slow show watcher, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still working on that. I really like it, even despite bad reviews from it. I'm catching up on the James Franco one about the JFK assassination.
Oh, 11/22/63?
I think so. Yeah. 11/22/63. Catching up on that.
Fantastic show.
It is really great. It's hitting the little fanboy button on my. I'm just like, oh, Stephen King.
I know. Yeah, it's really good.
And then they are, in that show they hint to the Castle Rock. He asked him, and I think it was the first episode, he goes, oh, are you related to so-and-so in Castle Rock, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, hey, that's a little Easter egg right there, and because they're putting...
What's Castle Rock?
Castle Rock is...
I'm not the biggest Stephen King fan, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, so the new... I thought you mentioned this to me, but there's a new show coming out on Hulu called Castle Rock, and it's about, Stephen King. I think he writes... I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to get this wrong.
Let me search it up.
But I think he writes all his books there in Castle Rock, or he's from there originally.
Uh-huh.
I think it's Castle Rock, Pennsylvania, or Maryland or something. Maybe.
Oh,
Maine.
Isn't it kind of like... Oh, okay.
But J.J. Abrams is directing it, and it's supposed to be I don't know what to expect from it. I just know that they've hinted at all these different Stephen King things that he's done, and but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, Castle Rock team up, J.J. Abrams, Stephen King. Now that you're saying it, wasn't it supposed to be a combination of all his work?
That's right. Yeah.
Somehow connected to all that.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think he mentions it in his work. He mentions Castle Rock in a lot of his work.
In all his work, majority of it.
Not all of it. I think a lot of it. He a character will say something, or part of a character will be from Castle Rock, or so there's some sort of tied to a lot of it.
The Stephen King cinematic universe.
Yes, yeah, basically. So
SKCU.
I'm really interested. It's got my interest peaked for that because J.J. Abrams did help him did direct the 11/23 or 11/22/63, and he's directing this one too. I'm pretty sure.
He did, right?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and he produced it with Stephen King. So if they collaborate again on this show, I imagine it's going to be just as great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Those are a few things I've been catching up on lately. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. Not much other than work and just a few of those shows.
You did watch a nice anime called One Punch Man, but we will be going into that a little bit later.
How could I forget that?
We'll be going into that a little bit later. Yeah, I've wanted to watch Ghost in the Shell. I have not had time to go watch it. Sadly, it has not been doing good. I'm so sorry, Scarlett Johansson. I love you, and but I will go see it soon, and I will buy it, just to let you know that I love.
I did
Scarlett Johansson
last night actually go back and watch the original.
No, you've never seen it before.
I had seen it before, but a long time ago.
And you saw it,
but I watched the original last night. Yes.
Was it which one? Was it the original, or was it the
original?
One that's there's a Ghost in the Shell 1.5, whatever the heck it was.
No, it's 2.0.
2.0. There you go.
Yeah, but no, I watched 3D. The one that was from the 90s or whatever. Okay. So
how was it? How did it hold up?
I loved it. It was great. I felt it was very anime-ish, and I feel it didn't translate too well to an actually animated film.
Yeah.
Just because, I guess depends on I don't know. I'd have to read the original manga and decide for myself, but the dialogue was kind of just
campy.
Yeah, campy in some aspects, but I feel the story was good, but they could have gone a little bit longer with it. Mm-hmm. because it leaves you hanging with like questions of like, okay, well, what now? But then they don't really address that because there's another movie that comes out after that, like later, like years later, like 2006 or something, and I don't even know if that's a sequel or not.
There's like a TV series that happened.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's disappointing.
Yeah,
I wish there was more to it. So I haven't seen the Scarlett Johansson version of it. I hope that it's like there's more to it than that.
Yeah,
maybe they answer some questions that haven't been answered.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So I watched a little bit of Iron Fist still. I'm not really that far into it, but I've been watching a little bit of it. My wife and I watched 13 Reasons Why. Fantastic show on Netflix.
You got on that bandwagon.
Yeah, well, I really was not going to watch it, but then she started watching it as I was reading stuff. And I was like, well, I'm hooked. And so I didn't watch like all the episodes, but I jumped around as she was watching them. I got the whole gist of the entire show. And so, fantastic show. I recommend it. On top of that, what stuff I watched?
How about that Rick and Morty season 3?
Okay, so how was that Rick and Morty season 3 first episode?
It was amazing. I mean, if you're a Rick and Morty fan, diehard fan, it was everything that you probably could have hoped for like a season 3 opener. And it was great the fact that they released it on April Fool's Day so that people wouldn't think that it was going to be released, but it was kind of a joke in itself.
Yeah.
So that was pretty great. And then they just like told everybody, hey, like it was mainly like a hey, here's what it is, here's what to expect. Sorry we don't have it finished yet, but it's going to be released in the summertime. So it was enough to tide, I think, people over for the time being.
And the whole first episode was about McDonald's sauce, right?
yeah. It had an underlying tone about Mulan Szechuan sauce. So, but it was like Rick's escape from the super jail that he's left at the end of season 2, and that he breaks out, and then at the end of that episode, he basically tells Morty that he didn't save Morty and his family for love or anything like that. He saved him because he's trying to find the Szechuan sauce, and that nothing's gonna stop him. It'll take 9 more seasons and 98 years. So it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I can't quote the line verbatim, but
that's good, man.
I loved it.
So do you feel like it was wrong of them to release it early, or were you okay with it releasing it early and still having to wait?
I was okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Give
most
you enough
people
to hold
were.
over?
Oh yeah. I think most people were. It gives you faith that it actually is coming.
Yeah.
So we weren't just sitting there like, oh, it's never coming.
Yeah.
I think, now we know. So they still don't have an actual date they're releasing it. They just said in the summer. So I'm just like,
they left a big open window for
huge, yeah. That's like 3 months, like a 3-month window of summer. Like, okay. So cool. Until then.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, first topic of the day. We are going to be talking about One Punch Man. You saw it. Let's write the time signature. What time is that?
What time are we starting One Punch Man at? Sorry. 8 minutes 45 seconds.
8:45. Okay, cool. So I've seen One Punch Man a long time ago when it first came out. Been reading the comics because I had Shonen Jump magazine that came out digitally. So I kind of knew the story. Came out as an anime. That was the best anime known to mankind. And so I've been talking to you about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I told you, Dom, you need to see One Punch Man.
Yes.
Once you finally saw it because it came on Netflix. It was on Hulu already, but you saw it on Netflix.
Yeah.
You watched it. You loved it.
I did.
What are your thoughts on One Punch Man?
It's excellent. It's just ridiculous, but it's the kind of ridiculousness that I like in animated TV shows.
Yeah.
And like the main character is just like this average guy who just one day like couldn't get a job and decided he was going to be a superhero and runs into this like big lobster man and was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to die, whatever, like it's not going to change anything. And then the lobster guy said he was going to go kill some small kid, and he was like, all right, well, I'm going to become a superhero now, all because of that. Right? So he finds this kid who's got like a chin that looks like a ball sack literally on his face, and he goes, and like it all clicks, like he's the kid that is gonna get killed. So he's like, oh my god, I have to save this kid. He fights this big ass lobster dude, and from there on, he's born into like the One Punch Man, and then he just works like extensively hard over like some weird time. And he doesn't do anything special. That's the thing. He doesn't do anything special.
No.
He's not bitten by some weird spider. He's not like, mutated or radiated. He doesn't like go up into space and get, irradiated by cosmic energy. Nothing like that. He just works out really hard and he gains like super strength, and nobody can understand why he's the strongest being in the universe. And he goes bald because it's so stressful, and so people poke fun at him for that. He also is like super bored with like everything he does, because he kills everything just with one punch. So I mean, he lets himself get like beat up entirely, just like overkill beat up by people, like worse than like a Dragon Ball Z show beat up.
Yeah.
And then he just like punches it and ends it. Like it'll be like a 20-minute battle of him just getting his ass whooped, and then all of a sudden just over like that. And
I enjoy how they make fun of that whole like.
That's what makes it great, because it's like the comic genius of that. It's just like somebody just said, yeah, I'm so tired of like these convoluted, drawn out superhero battles.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna make a guy who just ends things with one punch, literally one punch. It's great. And then the dialogue between him and his like disciple, in a sense, are just priceless. They're
Gino
gold.
or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Genos.
There you go.
Genos, yeah. And all the other superheroes don't respect him, and then he actually ends up like going into like a superhero association, and he's like the lowest ranked one because like he didn't pass like the intellectual test or something like that. So he's got to work his way up. Like it's ridiculous. It's the whole thing is just ridiculous.
And all the other superheroes are ridiculous as well, man.
Oh
like,
yeah,
there's a bicycle man. There's
right.
Like he for some reasons gets all the praise for everyone else's work.
And every time he's like going somewhere, it gets all emotional. This like rain starts and like emotional music plays, and he's just pedaling fast, and you feel for the guy.
And I love how every other enemy seems like it's getting worse and worse. And it's like every single time you think it's like, how are they gonna beat him up now? But it's like, in the back of your mind, Saitama's just gonna one punch is gonna kill him.
You're like, you actually kind of get you get concerned in some aspects. You're like, oh my god, is this gonna be it? Like, is he actually gonna get whooped? No, not at all.
Yeah.
But then you think, okay, well, he's just gonna end it one punch, right? But then they draw it out, and they do a good thing with like leaving you kind of hanging and wanting more. I'm excited for season 2.
Oh yes.
I think they announced it like a couple days ago that they were working on season 2.
A couple weeks ago.
Okay, so looking forward to that. One Punch Man, check that shit out. It's a great show.
It's good, man. It's good. I love how in that show, it's very stylistic.
Oh,
like
God,
the art is fantastic. When there's a fight, when he fights Genos to train him, and then like the moment that Genos is like he's going his all out, and then Saitama just is like almost punches him,
and then goes right past his face,
and he looks back, and like literally a crater in the earth is just like formed, and it's beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
And then the moment in the last fight, like it was an awesome fight, and then Saitama's like normal punch or whatever, it's just like being so. He's the most boring superhero of all time.
He says 50 normal punches or something like that.
Yeah,
50 normal punches, and he's
like, and then like literally like space and the clouds just like parted.
Everything stops, and this guy, the guy that he's fighting, is supposed to be the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah,
and he just ends up looking like a burnt fry from a deep fryer. It's so sad. It's just like, okay.
But I think what I like is how they use Genos a lot to be, because if you see a show like this and no one gets beats up, what's the point? Yeah. So they use Genos a lot to be that character, but they also don't belittle him. Like, he's an awesome character, dude.
Oh,
his character is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you feel for him when he can't beat someone up, because he's like, dude, I want you to fight somebody.
Yeah. He wants to be as powerful as his master, but his master's like, hey, look, man, like, I didn't do anything special. I've already told you how I do it.
Yes.
And so now, like, and that's the great part, too, because he's comic relief for Saitama, and then also Saitama is, like, kind of leading him on, and he's, like, trying not to disappoint him, because he didn't really think that Geonos was taking it as seriously
Yeah.
as he was. So now he's just like, oh my gosh, I have this guy looking up to me. Like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
Like, I have to just give him a regimented schedule because he's not going to leave me alone.
And he just makes something up for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Like, oh, I want you to go watch all these other superheroes and just analyze what they do. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh my god, he fell for it. You know,
Yeah.
like,
So
great show. Check it out for sure.
So our hopes for season 2. My hope is that they keep it coming.
yeah.
I hope that they bring even more ridiculous superheroes. I mean, they both have finally come into the league of all these other superheroes, and so we're gonna see them fleshed out a little bit more. I hope something comes up to where there's a point where Saitama is like they do find their match to an extent, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're always gonna know in the back of your mind, Saitama's gonna come up top. But I want there to be a moment to where maybe they capture him, he can't get out, something happens, he can't find his favorite noodles anymore, so he just goes weak. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what are you expecting?
Well, okay, so I like to really dig deep into these things, and my whole thing is, if you notice towards the end of the season, there was this one robot guy with one eye, and he had like the Japanese hair, whatever. But he said something to Geonos, and he said, "Hey, like the other superhero with that robot guy, what's his name?
I'm trying.
Metal Knight.
Yeah.
Metal Knight is not your ally." And he said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "You'll find out in time, right?"
Because he's trying to look for the guy who killed his
Yeah,
dad
and
or
I
something?
believe Metal Knight probably was like that cyborg guy. Like, clearly Metal Knight, they've kind of hinted, is like a human being, like kind of like a Tony Stark guy or something, who controls these robots and has just filthy amounts of money.
Yeah.
And so I assume that Metal Knight, one of his robots maybe went rogue or something, or he just used it as a test because he clearly doesn't care about anybody else, kind of thing. Took it through this village and just killed everybody, and that could be who Geonos is looking for. Also, I believe that maybe if he is a bad guy, kind of that's hiding in plain sight, that he would be the one to give Saitama a run for his money, because Saitama clearly cares about Geonos. So if he's trying to make sure that Geonos doesn't get killed or something like that, maybe that pits him in some sort of trap where, like, the Metal Knight guy has analyzed Saitama's power or something like that, and kind of traps him, and then he's trying to figure out a way to get out of there, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gonna focus around like maybe them going against Metal Knight and like some other low grade villainry.
Yeah.
But I think Metal Knight is probably gonna be like the end villain.
I know the manga is way ahead.
Yeah.
I haven't kept up with it, so I'm pretty sure all our answers. I'm pretty sure there's people out there that already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're just like these guys.
Yeah, like what the heck are they thinking? I just haven't caught up. But I think what'll be cool is I don't even know if it's on the manga. Let us know in the comments below. But I think it'll be cool if there's some character out there that analyzed Saitama when he was working out and copies his exact same moveset, and there's another One Punch Man out there.
Like
you know?
Yeah, maybe Metal Knight clones him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But maybe he's like a bad clone. Like he doesn't like actually have One Punch's Man. Like he's like, how do you say, drive? So he's just like this lazy Saitama. Like he's like the Saitama that didn't have powers.
Yeah.
Every time they try to like make another one of him, it just fails.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.